What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast, and I got some good videos for you today that have been circulating around over the weekend. And if I have to start with anything, it'd be this. This is from the Bearable Bull, where he says, "We're going to 10 to 20x from these prices." He said, "I bet my entire life, 5 to 6 years worth of research and entire net worth on this moment. I warned you about the nasty correction. Now I'm warning you that life-changing wealth is about to come. You all deserve what's about to happen." Now, I agree with him that these prices right now are a bargain and that what's coming is about to go way beyond what we think right now. A lot of people are thinking that it's the bear market. And usually, when sentiment is with the masses, usually the opposite happens. So keep your eyes open. Now, let's go straight to the videos because these videos are straight fire, and you need to hear what these videos are about. So here, let's go ahead and take a listen.
It's one of those things where if you can go into some of the literature, it's kind of out in the open, but they're not going to come out and go on CNN and go, "This is what's going to happen in the financial system."
Yeah.
Like that's after the news. That's after it happens. The news will come out and talk about it. But yeah, dude, right on their website. And if you want to, you could throw the image on the screen about how Fed on their own website say how they are going to overhaul to a new ISO system with an overnight method. Dude, it's the whole meme. It's the whole overnight XRP moon meme, dude. And it's right there on their website.
Yeah. So you think it's all just going to moon in one day? Boom.
Oh yeah. I think
by moon, what do you mean? Go from like $1 to $10 or to $20 or?
I don't know what it's going to be, but what's going to happen is all the XRP that's going to be on the markets, or even that escrow, is going to be entirely commandeered by the banks, and that's what's going to cause it to move. Because basically, let's say, and that's the thing, you can already see this now. 1% of the entire XRP that's out there is in the hands of retail traders. So the only thing that's going to cause it to move is the supply staying the same, but the demand going through the roof because the banks are now using it. It's almost like the difference between the banks sitting and holding onto a bunch of XRP and then now beginning to use it. And it's not all the banks are going to use it. It's the banks that are already prepared to use it, using it, and then everybody else following in line because this is the new system that they have to use. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you may have the Federal Reserve, you may have a handful of giant commercial banks already be on board, already be ready. That doesn't mean all the banks are going to be ready, but once they make the move, everybody else that falls in line is going to cause that demand to go. There's no telling where the price is going to go, but I can almost tell you that the demand's going to be on a whole another level that's going to be unrecognized to what we've seen in the crypto markets today.
Like so it's gonna make bigger gains in 2017.
Oh yeah. It's gonna make 2017 look like a drop in the bucket, dude.
Yeah.
It's gonna make 2017 look like absolutely nothing. It's gonna make the Bitcoin market cap look like an absolute puddle. Like it's gonna make the entire crypto space look like a joke. It's one of those.
And I mean, what he's saying here, he's obviously, I believe, speculating. And maybe he knows more than I do for sure. But what he's trying to say here is all like legit stuff. The article that he was just showing up there is telling you they've been working with banks. These things we've been talking about. They've been working with regulators, and when that moment comes where everything's set to go, what do you think that's gonna do to the price? And yeah, there's the meme where it's like, oh, it's gonna moonshot in one day, or it's gonna change, and people like laugh at that. But what if that's a reality? What if one day you wake up and it's at a completely different price? I know David Schwartz, he was saying that if you go slow and steady with the price, then everyone can buy into it. But he said if it happens really fast, then it's harder for people to invest into it. So think about it. If we were to moonshot to $100, $200 immediately, and if the banks are using it for settlement, let's say it's for the Nostro Vostro accounts, at a minimum it could be anywhere from $100 to $270 at a minimum. That would be its floor price. So if you think about it that way, that's a crazy thought. Now on to the next video.
It's going to be more for really everybody else. And I think they're going to do the exact same things that XRP is going to do it for the banks, and XLM is going to do it for just peer-to-peer payments. Is XRP requires for the original gateway to have some form of control over the account holders, just like a bank. Just like a bank, if you open up an account if you open up a bank account, that account isn't necessarily separate from the bank. It's entirely under the control of the bank. And it's not exactly the same way with XRP when it comes to issuing assets, but it's built in such a way to where it was almost like someone built it for the banks in that manner, to where you can issue other accounts under it, issue them assets. Now, why is this important? This is actually a huge security thing with this. The reason why that's important is when you're able to issue assets and it goes directly through the exchange, whether it's an exchange, whether it's a bank, whether it's whatever, in order to sell that asset to somebody else, you have to go through the gateway again. So, and the reason why this is important is this basically almost destroys any sort of people stealing money out of others' accounts, because you have to get permission from the bank itself to move that money, not just move the money anywhere. And the reason, and sort of get into sort of how the technology works for this, is when you issue an asset on XRP or on XLM, it functions the exact same way that XRP and XLM does. It's just almost like a piece of paper on the network with a name basically saying this is this token and this is what it does. But it operates the same way. It's just as fast as XRP. It's just as fast as XLM. It's just a token named something else on their network.
And now that's interesting because, we've been talking about that paper of the World Economic Forum. That is a while back that I mentioned it. But that paper from the World Economic Forum, where it talked about CBDCs, it said that a settlement coin that could be used would be the JPM coin or XRP. And also they talked about wholesale and retail CBDCs. And the wholesale would deal with everything on the back end. And that would be what XRP would do. It'd be working in the back end with the settlement. And now for retail, we've talked about how XLM helps for those use cases where it's for the peer-to-peer payments. And so these two have this brother-sister relationship that is going on, and they will be used in their full capacity. And we've seen documents that talk about them going live either November of this year or 2022. And so what happens, what if, it may not be anything drastic, that we see, or it could be. It's all up for grabs. At this point, I would not be surprised. Look at what's happened in the last year and a half. Who would have thought that would have happened? And I've been talking on this channel a lot about these blackouts and these power outages that have been happening. I have lots of friends that have been posting about, blackouts happening. And you hear about it all over the country, all over the world, that these blackouts are happening. Yes, there's high temperatures currently in many areas of the world, and that has something to do with it. But, the narrative has been built and is being built. And when you get people accustomed to these outages, what happens when there's a major, maybe global outage, national outage, local outage, a particular cities that have power outages? It would be a crazy thought and, thing that happens, but people may be already used to it from all the smaller power outages that there have been, So something to keep your eyes open. And what he's saying about the whole meme moonshot idea is not so far-fetched if you think about it. What happens when a power outage goes out and all of a sudden, boom, system is up and running. And now that they turn everything back on, the power comes back, you're looking at a $100, $200 XRP price. I don't know. It's a possibility. But, after everything that we've experienced, it's not out of the realm of possibility. And so it's good to entertain some ideas and see, uh, just entertain different possibilities. Now, that's not financial advice. This is pure speculation, okay? But I do know what I own, and you should know what you own. And you own it because you believe in it, and you know the value, the fundamentals, the utility, and the protocol, the value of the protocol. And that's important. I hope this episode has brought you some value. Like and subscribe, comment below. What are your thoughts? As always, I like hearing from you. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.